What up, peoples? What up? Excuse me. Welcome back to the Command Center. I've been thinking a lot. Lots going on. A lot on my mind, as always. I've been thinking recently about Vtubing. Something that has become apparent to me with the whole being a vtuber, a virtual tuber, a virtual content creator, is that it is kind of a lot. It's a very, very complicated and somewhat expensive undertaking, and you can do it. And even if you were to approach the hobby from the cheapest, lowest ceiling, laziest, most hyper casual angle possible, you'll still find yourself really quickly doing too much. You get too invested personally. And that line of thinking kind of led me to a realization that it's not worth it at a very hyper casual hobbyist level. It's just not. If you backdoored yourself into VTubing because you liked the concept of playing around with a 3D character, you might be a animator or modeler of various expertise, or you might like to pal around and hang out with your boys or your girls in VR chat. VR chat seems fun. I might make my debut, but when I do, I won't be full VR. Full VR gear. It'll probably be controller setup. Speaking of, you can play it with a controller or a mouse and keyboard. That might be something you like to do, right? And you just find yourself going, "Oh, I can do that VTuber thing," and then you realize you can't, or you realize that even if you can, your presentation, content style, character, lore, or actual personality would make you incapable and borderline incompatible with doing this. With doing it at a more serious level, you know, doing it in any way, shape, or form that would be profitable or advantageous to you. And this realization is weird. I consider it very strange, a very strange conclusion to come to. That, oh well, if you want to do it and be good at it, or rather, it's easy to be good at VTubing. I would say it's very easy. Figure out your niche and the kinds of things you want to put out on the internet, with what kind of digital media you want to create. Don't call it content, because content implies that it's meant to be consumed and thrown away. You want to create novel experiences that can be experienced again and again. That'll be the hardest part. That conceptually will be the hardest part. Back at it. It's only been 3 minutes. I've been trying to do this kind of intro for like what has to be 10 minutes. I've only been doing 3 minutes. Conceptually, creating a pathway or a template that's going to help guide you in the kind of media you want to create is the absolute hardest thing about VTubing. I would say you've got the brain worm of the idea, and then the idea will probably be for the character and the lore before it's the experiences or the quote-unquote content. That always comes after. And there's always ways to, via presentation, tie it back. VTubing is not worth it, I would say, because you can do you can VTube good, but to be a great VTuber does require the help of a team, and then it requires funding for that team. It's all of the stressors of being a content creator, of being a straight up normal run-of-the-mill content creator. Plus, there's plus. What is the plus? There's a stronger, larger creative drain, because you need a wider creative cache in order to continually create VTuber content. You also have to have a certain kind of presence, certain kind of presentation, or oration, even acting presence, because you are a character. There are many people who go, hey, my lore is shallow because my character is the most self-insert of self-inserts, and I just wanted myself as an anime character with a cool outfit, and that's it. That is fine. Everybody who's really standing out in the scene isn't doing that. Everyone who's standing out has a unique avatar, unique presentation, and they have identified their character. They know what their character is, and even if their character is just them, they have made steps to obscure that fact from the audience, even if the character's personality is just their personality. So they can be somewhat very transparent and somewhat shallow. They've still taken steps to kind of fool you. Which will bring me to my point. Yes, this is probably going to be another VTuber kayfabe video, but you have to realize VTubing is at its best when the tuber is making novel content. It's not just having fun, but having fun, making novel content, honoring kayfabe, and filling in the lacuna. The lacuna is the space between the lore and presentation and the audience. It is the job of the VTuber, via better presentation, as well as via their personality and their entertainment factor, to bring in viewers and fill in the lacuna, or allow the audience to be able to fill in that gap, that ludonarrative gap in the VTuber presentation themselves. This is a new concept that was introduced to me, and whenever I learn something new, whenever something's brought to me, presented to me, I just don't accept it. I have to think about it and ponder it and think about application, and think about sourcing and application, and if it, makes sense. And this is definitely something that makes sense. It makes sense to me. I would say it has spurred something creative in me, which is why I actually got down to creating a few new assets. I don't know if I don't write well. Actually, I can very much say that the gap is wider for me because I have foregone lore. In the sense that there is lore. In fact, the lore is very dense. I put 100% of the lore into, not 100%, but not 70 to 99.5% of the lore and the responsibility for communicating the lore into the ARG, because just putting the lore out, no one cares. But that's the thing about being a micro creator and then a small creator. I say it once, I'll say it again. I'm way too ambitious. I'm ambitious. I put out, I have the ideas, the drafting, and then I implement. And sometimes these ideas are just too high concept, which if you're working in a creative space, you're gonna hit a wall where you go, oh, I need better tech, or I need, I need expertise. I need skill sets. I need to buy someone's skill set or acquire the skill set for my own, or else I won't be able to make this thing, or at least make it as good as possible. And there is the whole, hey, just make it. You could always redo it. I do believe in that. But also, be willing to grow, be willing to experiment. I put a lot of the responsibility for communicating the lore into the ARG as a result of everybody caring about everybody else's lore and just being completely overshadowed. Which is fine. But that's why I have so much fun doing the lore stuff that I did. No one has found the where I'm keeping the 2 lore videos I finished last year. It's a hidden YouTube account. Based on all the breadcrumbs that have been left, you should have found it by now. You haven't, that's on you. I'm not just gonna give it out. I might do a season 1 as soon as I've completed season 1. We might do a season 1. I might do a season 1 compilation video. But, you know, season 1 isn't going to be done for 5 to 8 more. 5 to 8 more lore videos. So it is what it is, what it ain't. Back to VTubing being, it is not cost effective or energy efficient doing it in the nebulous space between very, very hyper casual hobby and paraprofessionalism, because there's kind of a gap between those. And living in that gap, you're not doing yourself any favors. So you want to be able to jump to paraprofessionality, and then you have to learn a whole bunch of logistical and business skills. A lot of soft and hard skills that you may not have. You got to figure out what they are. Sometimes you don't even know. You got to figure out what these skills are, and then you have to go about acquiring them. And you have to add it, and this just it becomes more when you add it to what you're already doing with the creation of your digital media experiences. And then you have to add that onto the creative drain of creating the presentation, creating the vibe, the atmosphere. What's the atmosphere of your VTuber? You know, what is it? What are the vibes of the content? Hopefully, I would like to think that the vibes that RKP brings via scrub streams and like Let's Plays and things featuring KAMENSTRIDER, where it's kind of like, hey, well, what if there was this like cyberpunk superhero and he's hosting Toonami? What if Toonami was hosted by a Kamen Rider? That's not the lore, but I do want that to be the presentation and the vibes. And then you learn the lore, and you learn there are a lot more insidious things going on, and then you're invested. The lacuna is the gap between the viewers knowing nothing and you knowing everything, but you using atmosphere and content and personality to lead them to your side, or as close as you want them to be, or to give them the tools to fill in the gap with knowledge. And that is done via communication of theming, and we do that through our presentation and our personality. It's something that a lot of VTubers don't get, and it is one of the secrets to obtaining the coveted VTuber X Factor. The X Factor is what's going to allow you to blow up. The X Factor is very much luck, but it's also the intersection of presentation, skill, personality, and timing. It is almost completely luck-based, but it lies at the intersection of all these things. It determines your blow-up. Everything from how you structure a stream or video to what socials you include, whether you have a link tree, a card, both. your alerts, and if they're set up. My alerts are not completely set up. What kind of challenges you like to do, hey, subathons, like what kind of special events you have for your community, how thoroughly your community is built, which is kind of a chicken or egg situation because it's hard to build a community. I've been trying to build a community. Big ups to all the kaijin. We are 115 strong across all socials. Thank you. But we could and should be bigger. It's my responsibility to get us there though. And that is tough because how do you do that? Well, you do that with outreach. You do that through collaboration. You do it through constant self-promotion. These are the secrets. This is the way. Anyways, I've said my piece. I want to pose a question to you. Is like, and the question I want to pose to you, the viewer, is I want to ask you: have you ever thought about? First, I want to ask you a few questions. I want to ask you if you've ever thought about Vtubing. I want to ask you if there are any similar hobbies other than straight up normal content creation, which become this involved, this level of like involvement where you can do it casually, and it might be easier for you to break in more casually, but very quickly you'd have to put in a lot more effort and get a lot good a lot fast once you get just a little bit of notoriety. Otherwise you're going to be left behind, which is kind of what I wanted to speak about. Maybe you think I'm a crock of shit. I would accept that if you could talk to me and word that well. I want to know what's going on and how you feel about the concept of the concept of, hey, VTubing is hard. You either have to put no effort into it or all the effort into it, and you can't half-ass it, and just putting a little bit of effort into it is borderline not worth it. Like that main idea. I want to know how you feel about that in the comments below. You gotta hit me in the comments below. This is your reminder. Yes, you. This is your reminder to keep it locked right here on RyderKickProductions and watch for the signal. Well, I'll see you guys when I see you guys. Hopefully we'll be returning to streaming next week. I decided to take the week off, get back to the day job, record a bunch of videos. I want to do like 2 more. Because I'm at a space where I've got a whole bunch of ideas and yet no ideas at all. So that's fun. I just want to hear what you have to. I just want to hear your thoughts. See what you have to say about things, because I like having conversations. I really do. That's why I try to end every video with 1 to 5 questions, because I do want to talk about this. I'll see you guys when I see you. Kamen.